Om Shanti. Good morning to everyone. Let's take a moment to stabilize ourselves in our original form of who I am is a soul, a pure soul, connecting with the Supreme Soul. And let's all of us read together the Murli dated 14th of January 1985. Vijay Bhai, would you please share the Murli? The title of the Murli is The basis of having good wishes for others, that is subh chintak, is to have thoughts about the original self, that is chintan, and pure and positive thoughts, that's subh chintan. Today, Babdada is looking at the special children everywhere. Who are the special children who have good wishes for everyone by constantly having thoughts of the original self? Those who constantly have pure and positive thoughts automatically have good wishes for others. So, the basis of having good wishes for others, Baba says, those who have constantly pure and positive thoughts, they will automatically have good wishes for others. Pure and positive thoughts are the basis of becoming someone who has good wishes for others. The first step is to have thoughts of the original self. The first step is to have thoughts of the original self. To have thoughts of the original self means constantly to be an embodiment of the awareness of the riddle, who am I? So Baba says to have thoughts of the original self means constantly to be an embodiment of the awareness of the riddle, who am I, that Bab Dada has told you about. The Baba is telling us to remember the first day of our Raj Yoga class where we got to know who am I. Always stay in that awareness. For example, to know the father and Dada as they are and how they are means to know them accurately, and to know both of them is truly to know. Then Baba takes us to the second day where we got to know who is the Supreme Father. In the same way, to know yourself as you are and how you are, that is, to know yourself in your original, eternal, and elevated form, and to have thoughts about that original self is called having thoughts about the original self. I am weak. I am effort maker. I am not an embodiment of success. I am not a conqueror of Maya. To think these thoughts is not having thoughts of the original self, because to be a conference aged, most elevated Brahmin soul means to be a powerful soul. That weakness, lack of effort, or slack effort is created by having body consciousness. The self means soul consciousness. When you are in this stage, those things of weakness cannot arise. So, one technique Baba is given us today to always stay in soul consciousness, to get yourself away from any kind of weak thoughts. So always stay in the awareness and consciousness of who I am is a powerful soul. Therefore, to think about the creation of body consciousness is also not having thoughts about the original self. Thoughts about the original self means now let's fill ourselves with these powerful thoughts that Baba is mentioning ahead. He says, as is the Father, so am I an elevated soul. Let's underline the statement. As is the Father, so am I an elevated soul. Those who have such thoughts about the original self are able to have pure and positive thoughts. Pure and positive thoughts means to churn the jewels of knowledge. It means to entertain yourself with the deep, entertaining secrets of the Creator and the creation. One is simply to repeat them, and the other is to move along in the waves of knowledge. That is, to stay in the intoxication of being a master of the treasures of knowledge and constantly to continue to play with the jewels of knowledge. To experience every invaluable version of knowledge means constantly to make yourself great with the invaluable treasures of knowledge. Only those who play with such knowledge have pure and positive thoughts. Those who have such pure and positive thoughts automatically remain distant from wasteful thoughts and thoughts about others. Souls who have thoughts about the original self and pure and positive thoughts remain are so busy having pure and positive thoughts that they don't have a second or breath to have any other thoughts. This is why such souls easily remain safe from thinking about others and having waste thoughts. They rather have that space in their intellects, nor do they have, they neither have that space in their intellects, nor do they have the time. Their time is engaged in pure and positive thoughts, and their intellects are constantly full of the jewels of knowledge, that is, filled with pure and positive thoughts. When there is no margin for other thoughts to come, that is what it means to be someone who has pure and positive thoughts. It means being someone who goes into the depth of the secret of every word, not someone who simply enjoys the sound of it. To hear the sound means one who goes into the significance of the word. For example, you enjoy physically listening to music a great deal. In the same way, you also enjoy the music of the Murli of knowledge. However, those who understand the secrets as well as the music become the masters of the treasures of knowledge and remain absorbed in churning the knowledge. No obstacles can come in front of those who are absorbed in knowledge. In the same way, those who have pure and positive thoughts automatically become well wishers for everyone. First are thoughts of the original self, and then there are pure and positive thoughts. Such souls become those who have good wishes for others because those who maintain pure and positive thoughts day and night can never have bad thoughts or bad vision for others. Because their original sanskars and nature are pure, they naturally develop the habit of seeing and thinking about everyone in a pure way with their attitude and vision. Therefore, they always have good wishes for everyone. Even though they see weak sanskars in other souls, they do not have impure or waste thoughts about that soul, such as which kind of waste thoughts and impure thoughts they will not have about others. These thoughts are, this one is always like that anyway. They always give such weak souls wings of zeal and enthusiasm, make them powerful, and enable them to fly high. They always cooperate with such souls with their good wishes and pure feelings. One who has good wishes for others means to be one who makes those who have no hope into those who feel there is hope. With their treasures of pure and positive thoughts, they make weak ones full and enable them to move forward. They would not think this one does not have any knowledge. This one is not worthy of knowledge. This one will not be able to follow the path of knowledge. Someone who has good wishes for others would give them a leg of support with the powers they have received from Bap Dada and become an instrument to make lame ones walk. A soul who has good wishes would make disheartened souls healthy with their stage of having good wishes by giving them Dilkush Toli. What is Dilkush Toli? Happiness in the heart. You do eat Dilkush Toli, do you not? You also know how to give that to others, do you not? Even whilst knowing the weakness of other souls, a soul who has good wishes would make those souls forget their weaknesses and give the power of his speciality and make them powerful too. Let's take a moment on this deep thought that Baba has given and check for ourselves, where do I as a soul stand in this context? I'll re-repeat the statement. Even whilst knowing the weakness of other souls, a soul who has good wishes would make those souls forget their weaknesses and give the power of his speciality and make them powerful too. They would not look at anyone with dislike. They always have the vision of uplifting souls who have fallen. They would not just be in the first stage of having pure thoughts or becoming powerful souls. That too is not being someone who has good wishes for others. To have good wishes for others means to use your treasures to serve many souls through your mind and words in your spiritual relationships and connections. Souls with good wishes for others are number one servers, true servers. Have you become such souls who have good wishes for others? Let your attitude always be pure. Let your vision should also be pure. The world of elevated Brahmins will then also be seen as pure. Generally, generally speaking, people commonly say, speak pure words. Brahmin souls are anyway those who have a pure birth. You have been born at a very pure time. Which is a pure time? The confluence age. The moment and period of the birth of Brahmins is pure. The omens of fortune are also pure. Your relationships too are pure. Your thoughts and actions are also pure. This is why, for Brahmin souls, there is no name or trace of anything impure, not just in their corporal forms, but also even in their dreams. You are such souls who have good wishes for others, are you not? You have especially come for the day of remembrance. The day of remembrance means the day of power. So, you are special, powerful souls, are you not? Bab too says, you constantly powerful souls are welcome to celebrate the day of power. Almighty Bab always welcomes the powerful children. Do you understand? Acha, to those who constantly stay in the spiritual intoxication of thoughts of the original self, to those who remain full of the treasures of pure and positive thoughts, to those who have good wishes for others and enable all souls to fly by first flying themselves, to those who always become bestowers and bestowers of blessings like the Father and make everyone powerful, to such powerful and equal children, Bab Dada's love, remembrance, and namaste. From us children, love, remembrance, and namaste to Bab Dada. Bab Dada meeting a group of mothers. Mothers, you always remain happy seeing your elevated fortune, do you not? Do you always have the happiness that from being the dust at the feet, you have become the crown of the head? Your treasure of happiness is never stolen, is it? Maya is clever at stealing. If you are always brave and clever, Maya cannot do anything. Sorry. In fact, she would become a servant and she would become a server any from an from an enemy. In fact, she would become a servant and she would become a server from an enemy. Are you such conquerors of Maya? You have remembrance of the Father. That is, you are those who remain constantly in His company and are colored with spiritual color. If there isn't a Father's company, there is no spiritual color. So, are all of you destroyers of attachment colored with a Father's company? Or is there a little bit of attachment? There may not be attachment to your children, but perhaps to your grandchildren. Serving the children has ended and serving others has now begun. It does not reduce. There is a queue formed of one after another. So, are you free from any bondage of that? Mothers have such elevated attainment. Those whose hands had become completely empty have now become wealthy with all treasures. You lost everything and have now once again attained all the attainments from the Father. So, what have you mothers become from what you were? Those who stay within the four walls have become the masters of the world. Do you have the intoxication that the Father has made you His own and that it is thereby such great fortune? When God comes and makes you His own, there could never ever be such elevated fortune anywhere else. So, you always remain happy seeing your own fortune, do you not? Just make sure Maya never steals this treasure. Have all of you become charitable souls? The greatest charity is to give others power. So, always be a charitable soul for all souls. That is, be a great donor of all the treasures you have received. To the extent that you donate these to others, so your treasures accordingly increase multi-million times. So, this giving becomes a form of receiving. Do you have such enthusiasm? The practical form of this enthusiasm is constantly to continue to move forward in service. To the extent that you use your body, mind, and wealth for service, to that extent you become a great donor and a charitable soul at present and accumulate for all time for the future. It is also in your fortune, in the drama for you to receive a chance to accumulate everything. So, you are those who claim this golden chance, are you not? If you think about something and then do it, that is a silver chance. Whereas if you do something generously with a big heart, that is a golden chance. Therefore, all of you become number one chancellors. Om Shanti. Let's take few moments of silence and reflect on this simple but very, very deep Murli on how to be every moment in the awareness of the original self and serve from there to others. So let's take few moments and then you can come and unmute yourselves and share your reflections. You can unmute and share your thoughts, your takeaways from today's movie.
Om Shanti, sister. Good morning.
Om Shanti Vinod Bhai.
This powerful message that you take the first step of giving a swaman to yourself. I belong to the Father. As is the Father, so is my elevated fortune. This fills one or any soul with so much of goodness that it ceases to think anything beyond it. I mean, that is the first step wherein we stop thinking about the negativities of others or the weaknesses of others. So, by doing this, we are getting into a stage of betterment, and we would not later look into the weaknesses of others. That is the bridging gap of that relationship. So, the initial step is what has Baba illustrated in this Murli. Instead of looking at the weakness of others, getting into Pardarshan and stepping out of our own Swaman, which is not a good way, and it's a troublesome way. Baba has given this clear cut idea that you consider yourself to be an elevated soul. With having a pure thoughts for your own self, you would feel contented and you would not go ahead thinking about the weaknesses of others, which would take you towards the harm's way. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Yes, Vinod Bhai, Baba actually have given us a very clear method and how we simply say in the world as well that what you have will you give to others. And it's even if you look at in the material space, only those who have treasures of wealth can distribute that in the world. So Baba says you, as you rightly pointed out, always stay in the self-respect. And I think last week's in one of the Murlis, Baba has used a word called Shuddha Ankar. And that Shuddha Ankar is nothing but stay in the space of self-respect all the time. Once you are filled with this self-respect, would you give the same to others? So yeah, that's like a simple principle Baba's made me so deep in. Let's stay always in this awareness. Thank you for sharing, Vinod Bhai. Yes, Vijit Bhai.
Yeah, so Baba says, pure thoughts come from that soul consciousness, right? So when when we stay in that consciousness, that awareness, right? So you are automatically become pure and positive, right? So there is there is no room for waste or negative thoughts, but to maintain that awareness constantly is the challenge or the practice that one needs to do. So the moment we step onto body consciousness, that is when the negativity or the waste arrive. Right. So here one good technique that Baba says is to churn the knowledge, not just don't just repeat it, but go deep into the knowledge. Right. Then just like people listen to music, right, but not really just enjoy, but not they don't go into the essence or the secret of it when they listen. So here also, we not just karna sukh, but going deep into it and then understanding it. That's where we keep ourselves busy, where we don't give a space or room for Maya or ways to come in. So when we do that, right, then we accumulate a lot of stock within the self. So where we will have good thoughts for others and also for the self, right? Om Shanti, yeah.
Yes. And very well, Baba says here, which that could resonate, when you keep practicing and practicing is when you become perfect. And Baba brought in the space of music where he says that one is you love the sound of the music, other is you enjoy every moment of it, understanding maybe the song or the melody to the deepest space. And then he relates that to the Murli. Some of you may, he says that some of you may enjoy the sound of the Murli, but the place to stand is not just to enjoy the sound of the music, but also do the analysis, do keep doing manthan. And Baba has always put this point very clearly. Keep doing Vichar Sagar manthan on the points of Murlis for you to deepen that. And while you were sharing, one thing which I'm taking up from today is the moment there is a space of which I used to do initially, but in last few weeks or maybe months, I have stopped practicing that. That the moment there is a waste thought, just get back to a point of a Murli in the day that has been read in the morning. And I am not very sure whether it was a Sakar Murli point or an Avak Murli point where Baba is defined in somewhere in the last week about the depth of purity, where in Hindi he's used word like tan, man, dhan, an, drushti, vritti, kruti, smriti, all of that. So the point of purity is from so many different angles to be looked at the deeper space. And you brought out that point of sound and rhythm and manthan, which Baba has mentioned today, actually is a place to put ourselves on a scheduler every day to read the Murli couple of times and do Vichar Sagar Manthan, if not the entire Murli, but at least few points of the Murli. So, for example, in today's Murli, for me, the point which was a touching point or take home is first stay in my own space of self-respect, and then to give lift to people who have who are having no hopes. So converting the thought of hopelessness to hopefulness is the point that really touched me from today's Monday. And that's only possible when I myself keep my aura and my deep thoughts on the pure ground. Thank you for sharing, Vijit Bhai. Just Girijavan.
Om Shanti.
Om
Do
Shanti.
you know do you know
Girijavan,
yourself? Yeah.
Girijavan, can you be louder?
Do you know yourself? That's the riddle, I think, the first thing we take when we come to the Gyan. And Baba has also just touched upon the second lesson. And rightly, I think we know about Shiv Baba, we know about Brahma Baba. We are so knowledgeable about the drama, about the cycle, about destruction and all. But we do not know about the self. Who am I? What am I? So, three self Baba has given over here: the original, the eternal, and the elevated self. So if we have to first, we know it, that is, there is knowledge of the self, but there is no accurate understanding of the self. And when there is no understanding of the self, there is no realizing the self. I think that's where the lack comes. We have not understood the self. We have full knowledge of what we are. I am a point of light. Brikiti ke beech mein chamakta hua jab sitara. And then I carry my samskars. I do not. I am immortal. I don't die. We have so much knowledge of all that. But do we really understand it? Does our mind really have the awareness of what is it? That's what is needed, I think. That's why Baba, every day he just says, when you sit down, when you're even at Amrit Vela, you have to just, who is to who? That's why Baba says, start with a conversation, not just sitting down and say, okay, let me connect. I am a soul, Baba is a soul. Okay, start connection. That sounds very mechanical. But Baba says you have to first have the deep, deep thing of going, which I think still, if you ask me, I am on a journey of myself. I know what's the self. I have also a little bit of understanding. But do I have that mental awareness? No. And for this today, just two things Baba has said: pure and positive thoughts of the self. Because if we need to be Shubha Chintak and Shubha Chintan, we first need to do Swachintan. So, what am I? What are my mental impurities? What is that which pulls me down away from being what I want so that I can give others what is to be given? That's the main thing. So, this, as somebody rightly shared in the beginning, the first, that's why we say when we get up or when we sit in meditation, we need a good swaman for the self. We have to pick up a swaman which is needed for ourselves that day according to the need, write it down and keep repeating it before opening our doors and flying to Baba. That's why it is said, my life, my voice. Whatever may be the weather outside, I should be my own sunshine. For I have to see, what do I believe in? What do I give? What am I? Because life is just 10% of what you are, but it is 90% of what you react to what you are. Even the sun, if you see, when it starts in the day, it's weak. But how does it get hot by 12 o'clock? So that's what even I have to do, that I can bring myself to elevate itself. So positive affirmations, this is what I need. So I think there are a lot more things one could just share about what is first a pure thought. What do you mean by a pure thought? Is it that which doesn't have only the five vices? But we have to know first, because we know knowledge about the five rupa of ourselves. Baba saying what you wear in golden age, what you wear in silver age, what you wear in copper age, all that knowledge we have. Angelic, deity, absolute knowledge we have. But is it, are we imbibing it? I think in that, if you ask me honestly, it's still a journey. Because I go and then I slip and I come down, saying, is this really me? No, I have to be different. But if that doubt, I take it on a positive note, I can go. I will be able to go. I should go because this is me. This is what I was. I think we need a lot of course on first starting every day throughout the day. Even what I need is, who am I? That riddle, as Baba, that's why Baba always says, so as everyone says, soul consciousness. Such a big word it is, soul consciousness. But you have to just break it into small, easy terms and answer these questions yourself. And then I think every other lesson is just a jiffy. It's a deep thought for me to really do. But practically speaking, it is positive affirmations for the self, pure affirmations for the self, never letting down the self. I am what I am because I think what I am, because I want to be what I am. Om Shanti.
Just Grijaben, the only place then to stand is, am I able to see the difference between standing in pure space of who I am and not getting into the space of arrogance, because at times it becomes very challenging to see where are we standing. And it's very thin line of difference. Sometimes all of this standing in the self-respect point should not become a space of ego, because the moment it becomes an ego space, then it's not self-respect. And that is what I was getting while you were sharing, standing in the awareness of who I am. That's the first chapter. Am I respecting that for myself and respecting that for others? Because sometimes I've come across that we are so much into that space of knowledge, and we don't know when the arrogance come in the play when we are dealing with others. Because somewhere in our subconscious, it is like, I know everything. So I think that's a continuous practice, and one need to be very, very consciously aware of the act that we are into. So that was one of the reflection while you were sharing the deeper point of that first lesson. Yes, would anybody else would like to add anything here? Or any other point?
Yeah, just adding on to what you mentioned, Rajiben. See, so here the block is always the waste thoughts, right? I suppose Brahmins may not have negative thoughts, 90%. But the waste thoughts is actually the leakage, right? That's where everything, all the power that we lose. So, that comes mainly when we forget the original self. That means the soul consciousness. So when we start thinking that I'm a soul, right? We start realizing who we are. We start getting the knowledge. We start getting the remembrance of Baba, everything. Right? There is a space for us to stay beyond without getting influenced by the materialistic thing. Right. So challenge here would be to maintain that awareness all the time. So there the practice requires. So we have so many births, the body consciousness and scar, which is actually pulling us down. So when we forget the self that I am a soul, right? That's where we are in the consciousness of body, right? It's either body consciousness or soul consciousness, one of them, right? So when we come into body, that's when the purging then will start, right? So we start identifying the self as a role or the personality or whatever. That is where we are opening the door for Maya to enter, right? So fear, doubt, everything comes there, right? And all weaknesses goes in when we start thinking about that. But at the same time, when we have this awareness that I'm soul, then our attitude itself changes towards the self and also to others, because we know that soul by itself is pure, and in Parandam, the soul is full and with all qualities and everything. So that all thoughts will come into the mind only when we are in that soul conscious stage. Otherwise, what we see is the body, and then what we think, the thoughts come into the mind is also that person is not good enough, or or whatever is not full, right? So I think so. The important line here is to understand the original self, to stabilize in that consciousness. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Anna.
Right.
Rakiben, just to add one line, I know your time is running out. See, when you said, even I kept churning. See, when I meant that we should have positive thoughts for the self, one has to be take care because this I consciousness can come in more. I am, I. So, but if you have a true knowledge of the awareness of self, that's why every day it's the Murli which gives you a checking point to see, are you still in that I consciousness? So Baba is saying, when I say self, it is soul consciousness. It is not body consciousness. So I have to have the original. What am I? I am a soul. Eternal. I am a point of light. Elevated. As is the Father, so am I. So if suppose I just rest my thinking on this, I don't think that I of body consciousness can create. So it is just to know my truth, my awareness, because for all these births, I have gone away from the truth and moved towards the I of BC, body consciousness. So as you were saying, I was thinking the checkpoint is just these three. Know what is your form, know what you are, and know why you're called as elevated. Because as is the Father, so am I elevated. I just wanted to add that, Om Shanti.
Get that. Thank you for these deep sharings. And let's move on to meditation. And today we'll do meditation on a very powerful song similar to what today's Murli is all about. So I'll play the song and let's simmer ourselves in each word of the song.
सलामत रहे सब रहे खुश मिजाज, सलामत रहे सब रहे खुश मिजाज, है दिल की दुआ के यही अल्फाज। सलामत रहे सब रहे खुश मिजाज, है दिल की दुआ के यही अल्फाज। सर पे हो सबके कामयाबी का सहरा, हो दर पे सभी के यहाँ खुशियों का पहरा। सर पे हो सबके कामयाबी का सहरा, हो दर पे सभी के यहाँ खुशियों का पहरा। प्यारे हो सपने होने दे सुहाने, हो सुंदर सभी के यहाँ जीवन कहानी। प्यारे हो सपने होने दे सुहाने, हो सुंदर सभी के यहाँ जीवन कहानी। हो जीवन यूं सबका जो हो खुद पे नाज, हो जीवन यूं सबका जो हो खुद पे नाज, है दिल की दुआ के यही अल्फाज, है दिल की दुआ के यही अल्फाज। मिले तीनों लोगों का सुख बेशुमार, हो सांसें सबके सदा खुशबूदार। मिले तीनों लोगों का सुख बेशुमार, हो सांसें सबके सदा खुशबूदार। मोहब्बत की सबके दिलों में चहक हो, रिश्तों में सबके यहाँ मीठी महक हो। मोहब्बत की सबके दिलों में चहक हो, रिश्तों में सबके यहाँ मीठी महक हो। बजे सबके मन में उमंगों के साथ, बजे सबके मन में उमंगों के साज। सलामत रहे सब, रहे खुश मिजाज। सलामत रहे सब, रहे खुश मिजाज।
Om Shanti. Let's stay in the whole day today with an intoxication of who I am in my original Swaman, that I'm a pure soul, and spread the light of the same to each of the souls that comes in your connect. Om Shanti.